Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, California Weather Watch. Today is February 22nd, and right now we are looking at the mid-level water vapor loop here, and you can clearly see the cold air arriving on down through Oregon. This is coming down the state today, folks. Big winds are incoming, so heads up for that. This will spread all the way down the state of California by this evening and this afternoon. Multiple rounds of weather coming in here over the next 10 days. We'll get into those details here shortly. Check out the Southwest USA. It looks like some kind of crazy fruitcake here, folks. All kinds of winter weather advisories. I'm not even going to begin to try to say them here, but there are a lot of them. We'll go into these details here in a moment. You can see even a freeze watch here for some of the central California, but winter storm warnings are just everywhere. Big winds, big mountains, snows, multiple rounds of weather coming in here, folks. This is the day 1 through 3 overall winter storm impacts, and more notable from this storm is a lower elevation snowfall that's going to be occurring across some of the areas, especially some of central California here. You can see the snowfall is going to be quite low, including Northern California, places that normally do not get snowfall or are going to get snowfall and possibly disruptive amounts as well. And you can see it goes without saying here, the Sierra Nevada and some of the Southern California higher terrain are going to get blasted, as well as Northern Arizona. Utah is going to get a nice shot of snowfall here, as well as Nevada, Colorado, as the storm system traverses across the area. Now, this is looking at 5,000 feet. 850 millibars. You can see that ridge backing up, and there comes that cold air shot all the way down the coast of California. Now we're on into Wednesday morning here, and you can see the Arctic air sagging down across the Pacific Northwest. Additional low-pressure system develops here, and this one takes its sweet time, pumping moisture, snowfall, and more wind across the state as we go on to Thursday night, shown here. Now here's Friday morning. You'll see the low not going anywhere fast. Friday afternoon here, continuing to bring some actual better precipitation amounts here than what it was initially progged for a few days ago. But now this trend is kind of stuck, and this low-pressure system is going to bring additional rounds of precip all the way in through this weekend as it takes its sweet time and kind of then moves across the state of California with some very cold air aloft. And then after that, another system is going to arrive here as we go on in through early next week, bringing additional rounds of wind, snow, and rain across the state of California here as well. Now, this is looking at 500 millibar temperatures here, 18,000 feet, just kind of give you a visualization of what's going on here. You can see this polar lobe just reaching out and including the entire state of California here. And then you can see that additional lobe kind of spin around across the west coast of North America here, taking its sweet time and keeping that surface low pressure center here off the central coast of California. Now looking at this is a precipitable water anomaly here. The initial system is here, and it is a little bit moisture starved here, and you can see it move down across the state here, even though it's bringing some nice snowfalls, and it's very cold air aloft here with this system, and it's going to bring some mountain snows mainly because of the orographic lift here is going to be able to wring out some of the atmosphere there. But then you'll see this low pressure system here, and this is the really disruptive one here, as this one is really an Arctic spawned low, and this one's just going to sit down off the coast of California. You can see it grab some of this moisture and start to spread it back up over the state here. This is Friday afternoon shown here, and you can see it taking its sweet time, like I mentioned here, bringing some moisture all the way back up across some of central California, the Sierra Nevada here, before the upper level low crosses across the state. Very cold upper level low as well. Going to bring some interesting downline weather systems here across the Intermountain West and eventually off towards the plains. And then we get another system here as we go on in through the early next week with additional mountain snows, winds, and valley rains coming through with that system as well. More on that here in a moment. Now we'll take a look at the surface map here with the precipitation overlaid. Here goes the initial system. Mountain snows coming, quickly overspreads the state here as we go on into Wednesday morning. And then you can see the secondary low pressure system here. This Arctic spawn low just kind of hangs off the coastline, continuing to bombard the state with precipitation here. Snowfalls are going to be very low by the time you go on in through mid and later this week coming up here. As you can see the snow kind of all over the place here across the state of California. And then you see the low pressure system continue to bring precip all the way. We'll look at some of the totals here as well. Upper level low finally moves out, but we don't get much of a break precipitation wise before our next strong frontal system rolls through as we go on and through early to mid next week coming up as well. So very active 10-day period coming up here for the state of California. This is looking at lightning flash density potential. We'll go through this fairly quickly here. We've got some lightning and some thunderstorms possible as we go through the afternoon Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday here, and you kind of see the spin of the upper level low off the coastline here, bringing that back up towards the Bay Area by the time we get to Friday afternoon. So heads up for that. We do have small hail potential thunderstorms with this system here as well. And this is max accumulated 10-meter wind gusts. I'm just going to speed ahead here. You can see some of the huge winds coming down the coastline, 60-mile-per-hour plus, not out of the question here, all the way down towards Southern California. The higher terrain as well. This includes areas like Las Vegas here, some of Southern Nevada, Northern California, off towards Utah as well. And the deserts of California are really going to get hammered with this system also. And a lot of these winds are going to be occurring today, folks, starting actually not long from now, just a few hours from now, probably across places like Northern California. And by the time you get towards this evening, it's going to stretch all the way down the state. Now, this is looking here at the European as of last night, excuse me, and the European as of yesterday afternoon. And there is a little bit of an uptick here, even just between these two models. You can see additional precipitation showing up here across the Sierra Nevada, a little bit more across Southern California as well. But this goes out about 144 hours. This would be about Sunday evening shown here. So models in pretty good agreement here on pretty good widespread precipitation here across the state of California here. And then we have additional systems after this as well. Now, looking at this is total snow Kuchera. This goes out 240 hours. Look at some of the huge amounts showing up across the Sierra Nevada, Southern California mountains. Look at the central mountains here along the California coastline. Watch out there. This is going to be extremely low snow levels, very unusual, including Northern California and the coastal areas as well. So again, places that normally do not get snowfall are going to get it here. So watch out, especially on these back roads out here. We'll look at some of the details here from the National Weather Service graphics coming up. This is Los Angeles International Airport. We've been watching this for a few days now, and it is now on the doorstep here, and you can see the cool down coming as we go through Wednesday. And there's that precipitation signal not budging here in the models. Pretty good model agreement run to run as we go here. Now we've got Catalina Airport. You can see the ensemble mean is up into the 60s here. Very strong winds out of the northwest coming all the way down the state. San Francisco, I would not be surprised to see some 60-mile-per-hour gusts in towards the city here as we go on in through Tuesday night into Wednesday morning as well. Mostly Tuesday afternoon, actually into Tuesday night, I should say. This is San Diego. You can see the cool down coming here as well. And you can see actually the precipitation just kind of creeping up model to model here as we go, as that low pressure system kind of been trending a little bit slower here as we go towards, as we start to get into the Friday afternoon period. We're going to have some pretty big precipitation amounts across San Diego International Airport down there. And you can see by the time we get towards early March, going to be up over 3 inches there. Big Bear City Airport showing these winds here because you guys can see that we're going to be getting some really strong winds across the higher terrain here as well. You can see Big Bear is no exception, probably into the lower 60s possible there. Palm Springs, prolonged winds coming up here, folks, as we go on in through tonight into tomorrow and all the way towards Wednesday night here. Gusts up to 60 miles per hour cannot be ruled out. This is Los Angeles. By the time you get towards this weekend here, really good model agreement here on some pretty heavy precipitation amounts, probably up towards 2 inches there. This is Mammoth. You can see that secondary lobe as we go on in through this later this week towards this weekend here. Definitely the better snowmaker here, as the initial one is a little bit moisture start here with the initial arrival of that cold air. Siskiyous here, you can see 4 inches of snowfall there. It'll be pretty chilly there as well. So going to be disruptive traveling on their I-5 there across Northern California in through Southern Oregon. This is Arcata here, and this is taking into account a little bit higher terrain, not much higher, but it's not going to take much elevation to get some snowfall here, especially across northern and central California. Again, a lot of those back roads out there are going to see snow that normally don't. It's going to have huge implications, big-time travel disruptions out there, so heads up for this occurring. The snowfall is going to be starting on in through, looks like, I want to say Wednesday late morning here would be about here. So you can see how this snow kind of hangs out here as we go on in through Thursday. This is Big Bear all the way down through Southern California. Some huge snowfall amounts showing up in some of the ensemble members here. The control is also up over 20 inches as well across Southern California. This is Ukiah, and you can see some snow falling all the way up there. This is taking into account elevation up towards 1,400 feet, but you can see some big amounts out there. This will be fairly disruptive here across Northern California. This is Redding here as well. Snowfall potential. There's a winter storm watch in effect right now for that area. We'll look at those details here in a moment. Now, this is a significant wave height, and you can clearly see this big, this huge wave action moving all the way down the state of California. So by the time you get to Wednesday morning here, no place is going to be safe. Heads up for your local National Weather Service offices. Actually going to be some good beach watching out there for some areas. Some pretty big waves coming down the coastline. This is 6 to 10 day. You can see the bullseye in California here. Here we go, 6 to 10 day precipitation. And this is actually showing up as an atmospheric river 2 there for San Diego of the weak variety here. But this is mostly beneficial at this time of year. But we do have to watch some of the higher terrain getting some really huge amounts up over 10 inches here as we go through the next week to 10 day period. We'll watch out for any flooding concerns as they go on in through the next few days here. So this is National Weather Service Los Angeles. And look at this. They're talking the snow level in some areas is going to be down towards 1,000 feet. Just pretty incredible there. And you can see above 6,000, 2 to 3 feet, up to 5 feet of snowfall there. 10 to 20 degrees below normal mountain wind chill, 10 to 20 Fahrenheit, locally below zero out there across some areas. So just a wild winter storm for Southern California down there. You can see the mountains and foothills gusting potentially to 70 miles per hour. Some of the coastals and valleys up to 50 there. Now, this is also Los Angeles National Weather Service here. Huge waves coming down here, so watch out. Big breaking waves. You guys know the drill down there. It might be some nice wave watching out there, but keep a safe distance. This is a National Weather Service San Diego. If you guys want, you can check this out on NOAA.gov as well. So talking about the snow levels being down near 2,000 feet as we go on in through later this week as well. Now, this is looking up north here. You can see this. Redding is included in this winter storm watch. And look at this, 2 to 8 inches between 1,000 and 1,500 feet. And you know what? There's probably going to be local areas that get snow below that too as well that make some of these headlines. But you can see all these winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories all the way out near the coastline here. Winter storm watch right now still across places like Chico and Redding there as well. So big travel impacts coming up here, folks. And this is just a good overall general rule here about preparing your home, your vehicle, monitor the forecast, have a plan there. This is from the National Weather Service Sacramento here. Now, this is looking at strong and damaging winds across some of the Central Valley here. Watch out, especially on I-5. That can be kind of a treacherous drive there with the big rigs out there. And when the wind starts blowing, you don't want these guys tipping over around you. So heads up for that across some of Interstate 5 here across Central California. This is out for the coastal range here, and this is pretty incredible. Winter storm watch is in effect for these areas above 1,500 feet, so heads up for that. And you can see the Sierra Nevada, of course, with the winter storm warnings out there as well. Starting tonight and Wednesday afternoon elsewhere, watch out for these big travel impacts. This is the amount of snowfall. And look at outside the hills of Big Sur there. This is just incredible. I mean, you're talking about, what, 1.5 feet of snow showing up on this National Weather Service graphic here. And you can see the higher hills around San Francisco, San Jose, Northern California. I mean, I think you're going to have some crazy headlines here coming up, folks, especially on the hills 1,500 feet and higher. Now, looking at this, too, we have the big winds coming down the coastline. I've been mentioning this, but just a heads up that you have some of the high wind warnings here for some of the higher terrain down there towards King City, Big Sur, especially off in the higher terrain there as well. So watch out for those nuisance power outages. Very strong winds incoming here, folks. So, yeah, we've got at least a 1, 2, 3 punch here coming up over the next 10 days or so. We'll continue to monitor this day by day. I'm probably going to go out to the Washington coast and do some wave watching, maybe catch a thunderstorm out there or a small hail shower or something to that effect, do some video. Catch some B-roll out there, but I'll probably do a live stream a little bit later on to do a Q&A for the people across Pacific Northwest mainly here. But anyway, I'll be back tomorrow and I'll do my regular weather briefing then, and we'll check to see what's coming on in through the future. But quite the dynamic storm coming up here for the state of California as we go on in through the next 10 days. It's going to be multiple rounds here. Big snows coming for the Sierra Nevada. Very beneficial here for, some of the groundwater out there as well. And, places like Arizona, Utah, and Colorado are really going to make out well here out of this. Also, some of the Colorado Basin should be doing pretty nicely here, and that will help increase some of the water supply for Southern California as well. So anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. I'll do a live stream later on. Check in there. You can ask some questions there, see what's going on, maybe see what kind of waves I'm catching out there on the coast. Hopefully the swell will be nice and big, but it won't do too much beach erosion out there. But anyway, I will do this again tomorrow, and we'll talk to you guys then.